Hi, today I'm going to show you how I put a daffodil together using the FMM daffodil cutter. I take 5 stamens and just wrap a little tape around. I just neaten the end off, keeping my tape going. I'm going to hook a wire over. I'm using a 26 gauge wire today, and I'm just going to come down the wire with the tape. Bring it down quite low so it doesn't get caught when you're actually putting it into the flower. Now I've got a board here and I've got little holes in it, so I like to use these. I'm going to cut 2 of a paler yellow, so little tiny touch of white fat around the hole, and roll. Don't roll too thin, because if you do, you have nothing to work with afterward. And you'll see. So we've got the first one. Let's do the second one. Don't take long to do once you start rolling. You can actually roll out 2 or 3 flowers at a time, because they're so quick to make, it won't dry out too quickly. I've got this. I'm going to put it onto my forming pad, and I'm going to put it where it's upside down, like so, so we can work in it. And you can either use your bone tool or you can use your Dresden tool. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to put this part flat onto the paste and open the paste up. So we start working. If it's a little bit tacky, you can either leave it to the air or you can use some corn flour. So as you can see what I'm doing, I'm opening it up and absolutely altering the shape of each petal. I try not to hold on to my paste, because if I do, it can really distort the shape that you're trying to create. So a little piece on either side, and we're there. You'll notice both of them have a little tiny Mexican hat on the back, because I find if I do a flat one and a Mexican hat one, I tend to lose the flat one inside. So make both of them have a Mexican hat. Now we've got to here. I'm going back to the Dresden tool, and I'm just going to flick this 3, and again. Okay, pick up. Now I like to use a tiny little one of these. I'm going to put it on and open. This is where you have the ball and the veining tool on this particular. I'm pushing at it, so I open that hole quite wide in there. So don't push on it, don't be afraid to. Same on this one. And again, push. And it's fairly important that you have that nice deep, wider hole in it. Okay, we're just going to put a little glue on here. And insert this one in. And you can use your little tools to just make sure they sit tightly together, like so. Turn it upside down, just leave it on the side there for a little while. Now I'm going to use a darker yellow. Just roll a little. Don't go too thin again on this. This is your center piece. Cut this out. Put it onto your pad. I'm going to use a veiner, a multi-veiner. And I like to vein both sides of this. So 1 side and 2 sides, like so. Now bring it around to me, using the very fine side of your Dresden tool. I'm going to take the very tip of this and pull. And I kind of hold this on its side, like that. And you can see what it's doing. It's filling it all the way along for me. You have here a thing called a knife and scribe. this part here is really good for this. So put your frilled piece on the outside, put a tiny little piece of white fat on here, and that helps to pick up and control what you're about to do. You're going to turn this over and allow it to stick. Get your glue right down the side. Don't go too mad. And you're going to bring this so that you join the two together. Just take your time with that so you don't close it up too much. And there you have the flute. Remove from here. I'm going to put a tiny touch of glue just around the bottom of this. Pick this up, and that's where you need that nice big deep hole. Just going to pop the flute on there, and there it'll stay. Let me just make sure I've done it straight. I'm just pinching it together to fix. Okay. Touch it down and it's in. I keep splitting that open, but we can close it. This is your prepared wire. Put a little bit of glue inside here. Doesn't want to stay on for me today, does it? So don't panic. Just put a little more glue on here. On that goes, and we're in. And there's our wire. Now I let these dry off for a little weeny while, and I let them dry off upside down. And so that you, like so. So you can put it on the side, let it dry, and when you come back to it, it's all dry and shaped, and I tape the wire in green, and then I just take my tweezers and bend it over, and then it becomes the daffodil shape that you're looking for. Quick and easy. We had to do a primrose today. I start off with the back, the little calyx that I'm going to use. A little bit of green. I'm going to put a little white fat on my board, and I'm using a board with holes. So I kind of prepare this first. Over it goes, and I'm using my miniature calyx cutter, jasmine cutter. You can also use them for. Now when you pop this out, it's very tiny, and so if I just put a little corn flour, what I do with this little ball, I'm just going to touch it onto here, and I'm going to roll it, and as you roll it, it just elongates each little stem for you, like you can see. Pick it up. And on the other side is a little veining tool, and that will open this for you. You're not looking for the vein, you're just looking for it to be opened like so for you. Pop that to one side. And I'm going to use a little Mexican hat method to do the actual flower. Very simple flowers to do, but very effective. Over it turns. I'm going to use the bigger size. Always make sure everything moves for you, and then you can get a better finish on the edges. Now I'm going to use the bone tool. And the bone tool, each one, because I want to keep this in that heart shape that it is, do 1 and 2. And so I just, and don't try and do one all together. Just keeps that nice shape for you. And you can see it opens it up nicely for you. Pick it up, go back to this little veining tool, pop it in, and I'm going to push with my fingers. Just push it around, because this time I do want the vein mark to be inside. Now the easiest way to do this, pop it down on your pad, pick up your calyx, add a little glue to your calyx and pop it straight over, and you get this. I've got a 26 gauge white wire here that's hooked already. I'll pop a tiny piece of glue on the top of it. Just going to open this a tad more. Now I've turned it, I want it opened, like so. In that goes. Twist in, always twist your wires in, and in it goes. And then just on the board I've just got prepared a white stamen, a white headed stamen. Again, a very tiny touch of glue, and your head goes in. That gets pushed quite far in, so you can just see the head. When this is dried off, you can then use just a little piece of, I've painted on the inside of it, and I've just dusted on the outside just to enhance it. And you can see the difference already. And that's your primrose made. Hi, I'm just going to show you how to make the daisy. I prepare a little tiny piece of yellow, and I've got a 26 gauge wire here. And I'm actually going to hook it. When you put your tweezers on, I'm going to push with my thumb round like all the way. When I take it off, we've got it hooked around. Now I'm going to take that and flatten, like so. I will then put a little glue onto this. Now when you insert this into the little piece that you want, what I do is kind of make a ball, and then I offer it to the cutter I'm going to work with to make sure I haven't just made it too big. Make it in a bowl shape. Keep it quite bulbous. Make sure that the straight of the wire is going into the middle of the paste. And once you've done that, you can then tidy that up to make sure it's rounded like so. If you wish to, you can use an implement like tool to vein this and make it like the center of a daisy. So pop that down to one side. And I'm just going to use white flour paste. And I'm rolling 2 pieces. I'm cutting 2 pieces rather, not rolling 2 pieces. Cutting 2 pieces. So, one, make sure it moves. It always will come nice and clean onto your board if it moves. And 2. And I've got a little ball here that I'm just helping that to pop out with. Over to me. And I'm going to use my Dresden tool. So I've got a wider side here and then a very fine side like your veining tool. So if you start, now I'm going to use this, and I'm going to hold it as I was holding a pen. I'm going to work with the furthest one away from me and just push at it. And you can see how it alters the shape of your petal. As you do, and you open that up, you can then just come back. If you see the movement of my hand, you come back on the petal like so. So it curves it in very slightly for you. So open up and curve, open up and curve. And keep going till you've got the whole 2 pieces done. Quite quickly, really, once you get on the go. Pop that aside, open. Again, you notice I don't hold on to my paste too much, because if you do, you can tear the petal or you can misshape the petal that you're doing. So let it be free. You'll get used to letting it do work for you. Right, little tiny piece of glue inside. Don't overdo the glue because it will all become slippy on you and work against you. One inside the other. Then you can take your ready-made center, putting a little tiny touch of glue onto there, and on that goes. If you put it to one side, you can make a little calyx to go with that. Little green paste. If you actually look at a daisy, you can use a tinier daisy to go on that daisy. for a calyx, because sometimes the backs of them, they don't have traditional calyx shape. But I'm just going to make a little traditional calyx shape for this one. Little piece of green, going to put it in this medium hole, roll, turn it over, bring your calyx onto your forming pad, open up your calyx. You can use your Dresden tool for this and just push, and I'm just elongating the petals on this. Pick it up. Now open this up so you can use your pointed knife and scriber tool and push. Can you see I'm pushing that against there, and it makes the whole shape different for your little calyx. Tiny little tad of glue. Don't need to overdo this again. And that will pop onto here. Make a quite nice little daisy shape for you. When this is dry, I like to let them dry for a couple of hours at least. You can use a little weeny piece of pink and just touch the edges, and it really does bring them out and enhance them. But you are better to let it dry and use a good quality strong flour paste, because when these are dry, well, you can imagine they can break off on you and it can be quite devastating. But if you use a good quality flour paste, then they won't break on you. And that's how I do the daisy. Hi. I'm going to show you how I just do a lily of the valley. I start with, I've got little ejector lily of the valley cutters, some long stemmed stamens. Now these are nicer with rounded head stamens if you have those, but most of the time you don't see them, so don't panic if you haven't. I've got some white flour paste here, and I'm going to start. I have a board here and I have some holes in the board. I'm going to start with doing a tiny little piece of paste and just touch it like so you know that it goes down to the bottom of that roll, and I'm cutting this off. Now what I'm actually using is just this. I'll show you on my pad. Just this. And it's quite rounded on the bottom already. So you don't really want to alter that. So put it into your fingers like this. And I've got a tool here, which is the veining tool, and a tiny bowl tool. And I'm going to open it. Now, if you can see what I'm doing, roll the tool and roll. And you can see I'm opening that bowl like that, but I am really making sure that this stays rounded on the other side. So open it so that that is fairly fine on the edges. So I'm just gently pushing at it, and it is opening like that. Now pop that down, take a piece of paste and roll. And when you're using the ejector, always put your fingers down here, push, cut, pull away, and now eject. And there it is. So it's quite quick. You're going back to your small ball tool with your piece of paste. Make sure that you've got the right side. I'm going to roll that. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm not doing anything like widening it. I just want to roll to take the shape of the actual petal. Roll. Bit fiddly because they're so fine, but once you've done them, they're very easy and very quick to do. Pick up. I'm going to put some glue around the top here. Just make sure I have enough glue on there. Right around just the top of that. Pop it into there. Make sure you get it down the middle as much as you can possibly get it. I'm going to open it up again. And inside here, I'm going to put my stamen. Now here's my stamen, there's the head of it. Get your glue and bring your glue right to the head of the stamen, so that when you push it through like this, it comes out the other side. Bring it in and stop. And let this dry. Just let it dry in your pad. When you've made several of these, like so, this is made with there's a set of 2 inside your packet. So that's the larger one, this is the tinier one. So just to show you how I put them together and how I make them sit, I'm just using white tape, but you can use white tape and you can dust the whole lot. So if you put dust on your fingers and you pull it down like this on your tape, it will all become green coloured for you. So now I'm just going to start with one of these, the tiny one, bringing the tape onto this cotton of your flower, of your stamen. Bring the wire over that and start to go down. And as you go, put your tape at an angle and don't make them come in too tightly into it. Just work with them as you bring them down. And we have 5, luckily enough. With Lily of the Valley, you can put a lot of little heads on, little tiny ball to just be the little buds that are coming up. So you really only need about 3 flowers quite often. Now you've got this, you want these to hang. So you take your tweezers, and with your tweezers, I'm going to do what is called walked down. My tweezers is going to pinch this, but just on an angle. And look, as you do it, it turns it out for you. So a nice strong cotton is the answer, but you don't want a thick cotton, you want it thin. And once you've done, you can then just go along the back and your flowers will hang for you. Just dust all this in green and it will just be perfect little lily of the valley for you.